Okay, scholars, let's work on some rational applications of rational equations. This time we'll tackle proportions. Very straightforward, so I believe with 2 or 3 examples will suffice. So what if we have the following? Let's begin. Let's try this two. First, number 17. Coffee consumptions. With the proportions, fraction equal to fraction. So what do we have? We have that coffee beans from 14 trees are required to produce so much coffee. So 14 trees are needed to produce, are required to produce 7.7 kilograms of beans of coffee, I assume, or coffee, kilograms of coffee. We want to know how many trees are required to produce 638 kilograms of coffee. Notice it doesn't matter how we are organized it as long as we organize it properly. If we place the number of trees in the numerator and the amount of coffee in the denominator, the other fraction has to be set up the same thing. How many trees? How many? So of course this is the unknown, so we're solving for x. Let me leave it here, so then we'll do it right away. Look at number 19 here. In the recent year, the winery produced right? So this winery produced 4320 bottles of wine from 8 tons of grapes. So wines and grapes. We need to know how many tons of grapes we are required if the demand will be 7850 bottles of wine. Okay, so now here we chose to place bottles in the numerator, tons of grapes in the denominator. For another number of bottles, how many tons of grapes do I need? And we can solve these two proportions. Let me stop sharing the document. Yeah, now we can do it. So of course, with proportions, a very quick way of doing it is cross multiply. So what do I have? 7.7 times x equals 14 times 638. So for x, we simply divide by 7.7. So x equals 14 times 638 over 7.7, which is about 1,160. Here we're solving for number of trees. Yeah, so we need 1163s to produce 638 kilograms of coffee. And we are done. Okay. Here are the grapes and the bottles of wine. Again, this is the unknown. So x, we cross multiply. So what do we have? 4320 times x equals 8 times 7850 divided by 4320. X, which in this case represents tons of grapes, will be x equals multiply 8 times that divided by that. That would be about 14.5 pounds of grapes. And we're done. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try another example. Okay, let's try number 22 here. Estimating wildlife population. We need to know how many deer in a preserve So what's the drill? The scientists caught 318 deer, tagged them, and let them loose. Then he came back, he caught up 168 deer, and out of those, 56 were tagged. How many there were in the reserve? So what do we have? Notice that what we know is that out of 168 deer, 56 of those were tagged at the beginning. I mean, at the end, the second time he did it. However, at the beginning, he tagged 318 deer, but we don't know how many deer were originally. Okay, so that's why we set up the proportion. We took a subset of 168, and out of those, 56 were tagged. If 318 were tagged, what was the total population? Yes, in this case, this will be by unknown, cross multiply, and we solve it accordingly. Okay, so cross, 56x equals 318 times 168. Solving for x, of course, we divide by 56. So the number of deer in the preserve were 318 times 168 divided by 56. Oh. And that would be just about 1 or I have my notes wrong here. Sorry about that. Yeah, let me do this again. I do apologize, that's wrong. So what do I have? 318. No, I cannot see. Okay, so we have. Should I stop the video? 318 times 168 divided by 56. 954 deer. Okay, that makes sense. We are done. Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's just practice these 3 examples. No word problem, just simple examples. Again, proportion, cross. So we have 8 times 9. 9a equals 4 times 144. And now we simply divide by 9. And we get the answer. Okay. There, we need to use a calculator. Once again here, cross. So we have 7 times n. 7n equals 5 times n plus 14, which is the same thing as 5n times 5 times 14. That's 20. That would be 70. And we can subtract 5n. That would be 2n equals 70 divided by 2. Half of 70 is 35. We're done. Here, once again, we can cross multiply. So we have 9 times x minus 12 equals 6 times x plus 12. Okay, so 4 times 144 divided by 9, that would be 65. I'm going to say 64. I think it was 64 the answer. Okay, I can do it again. Here, of course, once we cross, 9 times x, 9x, 9 times negative 12 minus 108, 6 times a, 6 times 72. Combined like 10, so we may subtract 6, 9 minus 6, 3x equals, we can add 108 plus 78, that will be 180. So we subtracted 6x and we added 108. And of course, if I were to divide by 3 here, 18 over 3, that's 6, so x equals 60, and we're done. 4 is 1, 4. 64. Okay, thank you.